fucked. How did I 7.0 so far? That's a good question. I haven't had a lot of chance to play it because I've moved across the country. From my current experience, I'd say that there are a lot of good ideas here. I really like the return of like meaningful choices in the tree over here. So like the fact that you can actually like, oh, I want to have straight up more AoE damage or more single target damage, etc. I really think that's interesting. I think it's interesting making people choose different defensive cooldowns, but it feels unfinished. Like it feels like they are not. If this was the PTS, it would be a fucking fantastic PTS. But it feels like they ran out of gas at some point and just like stopped caring. And not stopped caring is even the wrong word. There are some aspects of the game that could use more polish that I would expect out of a AAA MMO. For example, there is a quest in Manon where you go, and besides all the bugs that happened in the main quest to me, which I was actually pretty frustrated by, like the quest is you walk around, you click on a terminal, and then you walk around, and then you click 4 spaces that have no enemies in it and no mechanics. It's a fucking walking simulator. And like, that's not finished gameplay to me. I can do that on my stronghold. I could have made that quest in my own time. And there's the issue is that there's so much potential in that quest. I don't know if you guys played KOTOR. You should if you haven't. You went down and you were in Manon, and it kind of had the same deal. You didn't have any abilities. You kind of just sat around, but there were sharks everywhere that you had to actively avoid. And so it was this fun game of like Frogger and cat and mouse and like, hey, try not to get eaten by sharks. That could have been implemented here. And it feels like that was their intention to do that. But then they didn't. And it just entered like straight up, it's not ready territory. And like it's not the devs that agreed for money. Let's correct that statement. This was if I had to guess, this was a push from above. Because we've been over this. SWTOR is held together by duct tape and dreams. The people that are working on the game are working very hard. The hamster that runs their internet is very, very tired. But they haven't put out real content in 2 years. And I think it's just a staffing issue. But if I'm EA, and I'm looking at this MMO while all the other MMOs are struggling in the market, and we're like, we need to get an expansions out and like put some content out. We have a really solid foundation here. Like SWTOR is a good game. I know that sounds like a bold statement. It's really not. There's a reason that I've been playing it for 10 years. It's because I thoroughly enjoy it. I think the PvP is a lot of fun. I think that the end game rating is a lot of fun. I really like the people here. Sure, there are some things that are frustrating about the game, but there's a reason I've been here for 10 years. It's because I enjoy the game. And it's not a perfect game. It's not a great game, but it's a good game. And I like it. And I enjoy spending my time here. And people have had that experience for the past 10 years. And people are like, oh yeah, SWTOR is still a thing, right? Let's go check that back out again. And they have such a solid foundation that if they took the time to really polish this egg, it could be a really, really solid game. And I'm worried that they might have fucked up their opportunity. So the IP and fundamentals have worked very well. Yes. It's a great IP. And the basics of the game are like really solid. Like the PvP in this game is probably the best MMO PvP that I've played. I've done WoW, I've done ESO, I've done SWTOR, I did WildStar back in the day. I like SWTOR's PvP system the best. I like the tab target system. It's relatively balanced. Like I know that there's like there's more strong classes than others, right? But you don't have like the ESO style of you have to play a werewolf and run around with, end game gear you grind over and over again in one specific dungeon. you can kind of get there in any class in SWTOR and perform adequately, and you don't get fucking dunked on. The fundamentals in this game are really, really solid. And it felt like they hadn't done anything with it for 2 years. Like, they put out a Flashpoint. That's not real content. Like, it's a Flashpoint, great, but they have strayed away from actually helping the game grow to just like maintaining what they have, which is sad because you have people like the reality guys that are like, we've been doing the same raids for the past year. Like, when did thanks for the fat follow, by the way, Entropy. When did Duxin Operation SWTOR? Nature Progress. Okay, 2020 is when they came out. That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, bro. I'm sorry, it came out in 2019. 3 years ago, bro. 3 years ago, a new raid came out. That's not a consistent content schedule. I'm sorry. That's not enough to keep hardcore endgame raiders around. And the fights are really good. The fights are so fucking good, dude. Like, I had more fun killing Apex than I had in all of Season 14 of Ranked. And because I had a good group of guys to run it with, but like the mechanics were interesting, it was challenging, it was brutally difficult, but still like doable, and you could see prog on it. It was so much fun. Trandos, super fun fight. Huntmaster, if it worked properly, could be a really fun fight. And then they don't do anything with it. We were running, we ran the new Flashpoint on Master Mode yesterday and did the bonus boss that had some actually kind of like really fun mechanics of like, you had to use the different lasers to kill the different bosses, otherwise you do 1% damage to them. And it's a genuinely well-designed fight. Their PvE team knows what the fuck they're doing, but they work at a sloth's pace. God bless the PvP team. All right, SWTOR Warzones. SWTOR Warzones. Let's see. When do you think the last time we got a new Warzone was? It was Warzones. Let's see here. What was it? Vanden was the last one that they added? Vanden Hutball? Oh, SWTOR Vanden Hutball. Let's see. 2018. 2018 is the last time we got a new Warzone. And I still really like the PvP. Like, I genuinely like the PvP. The mechanics for PvP in this game are really solid. And like, I don't think anyone would dispute that. There's a reason that we all play this game and play PvP in it. It's because the mechanics and the fundamentals are super solid. But new content hasn't come. 7.0, where is the new operation to launch with it? I know that R4 is coming. I know it is. But you gotta drop something juicy with it. Where's the new Warzone that's coming? It has to be out there somewhere. We can't sit here with our dicks in our hands forever, but apparently we can because I actively currently am. But like, new content is fucking necessary, and EA knew that. And even though 7.0 wasn't ready, they said you have to put it out because you haven't put out jack shit in 2 years. And that's how you end up with some things that don't feel as polished as you would like for an MMO. And like I said, I actually kind of like some of the mechanics they brought in here. 7.2, yes, I believe 7.2 is when they come out. They had to scrub all the win traders. I really like this idea of the ability tree having meaningful choices again, and all this is actually like kind of interesting. It's frustrating to have pruned abilities, but at the same time, like, it's kind of fun. If these were a little closer in damage, it'd be more fun. But like, hey, do you want to choose AoE a single target? That's not a terrible idea, and it gets rid of the jumbled mess that was the previous utility options, where you had some tiers that were completely dog shit and some tiers that were godly, right? Now, obviously, not obviously, it opens up things for PvEers to like experiment with, which I think is really cool. And there is going to be like a meta way to play, obviously, but that's pretty cool. The loadout system, this is a good idea. I really like this. I really like this concept of the loadout system, where it's going to say, hey, if you want, I'm going to swap my utilities, boop, we're good to go. Oh, if I want, boom, PvP utilities, I'm good to go. Super helpful system. Super helpful system. Really a big fan of this. But there are some aspects of it that didn't feel ready. And obviously, when you have a PTS, like the PTS is a very small number of players that actually want to go out and find bugs. You're not going to find everything, right? And when you throw 40,000 people at a game, they're going to find more bugs than the group of 4 found before, right? And so I will forgive some of the issues that, like, we didn't discover this when we had 40,000 people, or 4 people compared to 40,000 people running and testing new content. But there's some stuff that was reported on the forums that people were like, hey, this isn't working, this is a problem, and then didn't go around to fixing it. That's a frustrating experience. Like the entire currency pane. So I actually don't really have that much of an issue with this. The fact that the inventory takes a while to load is kind of weird. But, you know, the idea of combat styles, I don't hate it. It's gonna make this a little bit of a more of a pain in the ass, because, like, I'm gonna have to manage more of my inventory, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I like the idea of putting the grind back into the game for getting gear. I know that people aren't going to be happy about that, but, like, it's an MMO. You shouldn't get top tier gear in the first second, right? It's not the worst thing in the world to incentivize grind. The issue is that when the grind is a confusing mess, then people aren't going to be happy with you. When I had to go out and make a spreadsheet, when I had to go out and make a literal, actual spreadsheet to help me navigate what all the different currencies do, that's a bit of a problem. Now, of course, it's great for people like me who make content for this game. And then you could say, oh, yes, it's time to make the 7.0 gearing guide. It's time, boys. Who the fuck is this shitter, bro? Fucking VHurt, win traded season 14 healer. Any win traded season 14 gold healers, bro? There it is. What's up, VHurt? If you guys haven't seen VHurt stuff, you should definitely check him out. VHurt_gaming. He's a good dude. Yeah, true, man, true. And so, like, the systems that they put in place are really interesting, and I genuinely enjoy them, but it didn't feel ready. Sup, SWTOR, thanks for the fat follow, bro, much appreciated. And Ren, thanks for the fat follow, bro. Glad you enjoyed my shit show. They take care to start the day.